We got Ben Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. He's gonna get it this time, man. Oh, and yes. Woo. Look at that style. He's concentrating. He's gonna get it. And kablamo, he got it. Woo! Ben Jackson, ladies and gentlemen.
While the world is burning, got to make amends. Walk on the sunny side with a positive lens. Talks about passion between a woman and a man. Chris Dyer and his creative friends. Darling, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Hi, welcome back to Chris Dyer's Creative Friends, the super awesome YouTube podcast interview show where me, your artist friend Chris Dyer, interviews my creative friends. Today, I'm interviewing a really old friend of mine, and he's somebody I've collaborated for many years, and he's definitely very creative, and he's very soulful and interesting. And not only that, he's actually the one who co-creates this show with me and has co-created a bunch of other things with me throughout the years. It's my good old friend, Ben Jackson.
Hi, Chris.
What's up, Ben?
Welcome to Mi Casa.
Yeah, thanks for having me over, man. It was a beautiful sunny day today. Very sunny and warm for November. We went out skateboarding, had a good sesh. You got some good tricks.
It was great. I was so happy. We didn't even get that hurt, really. So.
I bruised my heel a little bit, but you got your little air there.
Yeah, I was happy with it because I figured, at this point in our lives, we're getting to the age we're probably not getting picked up for real videos. So that was the video part. We nailed it.
Right.
We've got this and Labrona, so
Yeah, nice.
there we go.
Labrona showed up too, and Eloise, who's also been assisting me in this show, was there skating, ripping it up too. Yeah, and you brought your kids over. What's your age, by the way, these days?
I'm 33.
Okay.
My older son Jethro is 10, and my younger son Theo is 8.
Yeah, that's always tripped me out because when you had kids, you were 23, and you've always been like a lot younger than me, and I was always like, what the fuck, like young Ben, the crazy skater Ben, who's like a wild man, is the one with 2 kids. You're so much more adult than me in some ways. So
It makes you grow up fast. Like I had to switch my life very quickly when that happened. But
right,
they're
but
great kids.
you're responsible, but you're still like, doing handrails and shit.
Yeah.
And living life to the fullest, like without the rules of society of what a dad should be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep it active, try to keep doing my stuff so my kids can see me, spend time with me, and be proud of me as well.
Right.
No,
You homeschool them, right?
we homeschooled, yeah. Since last September, we wanted to travel more. So we got to do 2 coastal trips last year, which were great. This year, everything got canceled because of the situation. But
The
hopefully
situation.
we'll travel more once people get over the situation.
Right.
Yeah, it's been tough. But anyway, all the other schools are wrecked by the situation. So we were
Right.
just ahead of the curve on homeschooling. I
Because you
think.
started homeschooling them before COVID hit.
Yeah, 1 year before.
Yeah, nice. And you're like right next to a school. Like your backyard faces a school with kids playing, which is
And
ironic.
they used to go to that school. It's only, we pulled them out, I think, just at the right time, because they had some funding cuts. They cut art, they cut music, which is just, that's
What the
sad.
fuck?
And
Come on, Canada, get your act together. We're a good country. We like arts. We like music. Come on, Trudeau, what's up?
yeah, we wanted them to learn French too, so they learned French. Ils sont super en français, bien mieux que moi. So that's done. So what else do we need them for?
Right.
Yeah, they can learn other things.
Did the kids mind like not going to school anymore, or were they happy?
I think they love homeschooling. Like, when they're older, we'll probably put them in a high school for real. But for now, they love it. They do a couple hours in the morning. They knock out French, math, another subject or two. Got all these instruments around, so you can do some music.
You took them skating today. That was skate class.
That was gym class.
Gym
Yeah.
class. And that doesn't take too much time from you guys? Like, isn't that like an extra homework for you adults?
Yes, it is a whole nother full-time job.
And it
In
doesn't
addition to everything else it is.
save you money because Canadian schools for kids are free,
Yeah,
right?
it's free. Yeah, it costs us money because we have to buy the books. Whereas if we go to school,
The
they
books
give you the
come
books
with.
for free.
Oh.
But we
So
get better books, I guess.
What's the motivation? Like, you choose the education for your kids and you got the freedom to travel wherever the fuck you want.
That's it. Flexible time, not institutionalizing them. Let them ask more questions, develop other things that they might be more interested in, or that we're more interested in them for them. And so, it gives us a lot more flexibility on all shapes of it. And once they're like, a little less easily influenced, then maybe back into the system for advanced studies, stuff that I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like university shit.
Yeah, well, even high school, I'm still ahead of them on math, but they'll catch up in a few years.
Oh, man.
Piano, they've already caught up with me. I can't teach them any more piano, so we need to get a proper piano teacher.
I'm sure
for
they're
them.
better at math than me.
They're pretty good.
Anyways, so tell us a little bit about you, Ben.
Yeah.
Who are you? Where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about Ben Jackson. Why are you here on the Creative Friends show?
I'm on the Creative Friends show because you and I have been creating together for 15 years now, which is
Damn.
mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't believe it.
And I'm American. I'm recently Canadian as of about a month now. I got my
nice.
certificate
Congrats.
of Canadian citizenship, which I'm so
Damn.
happy about.
Sick.
But
Where did you grow up?
I was born in Wyoming, and then I grew up almost entirely in Iowa.
Okay. How was that?
It's a nice place to visit for a couple of days, but I was there for 17 years. It's safe, it's quiet. There's actually a pretty good skate park now that's named after an old friend of mine, Georgie Tsushima, who died a few years back. They named the skate park after him because he was by far the best skater to ever come out of Ames, Iowa.
Cool.
And what else is there to say about it? It's the Frisbee golf capital of the world.
Oh,
So
Frisbee golf. Sounds exciting.
Frolf for short.
Wha-
It's a good
wha-
way to spend the day.
Why did you move to Montreal all of a
Because
sudden?
Montreal is exciting, it's different, it's romantic, it's French, it's exotic, and at the time it used to be really cheap.
Right.
Yeah, it's not anymore, but
But
when I moved here, it
did you
was
hear
super
about it on TV? Like, what makes an Iowa dude being like, hey, I'm moving to a French city in Canada?
well, I wanted out.
Yeah.
And then when I was 16, my mother had the idea of coming up to Montreal because she remembered camping out at Expo 67 when she was a teenager.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, her older sister brought her up and they camped out in Longueuil, they went to Expo 67, they had all these great memories of Montreal. So when I was 16, we came up here on a family trip and it was just, I'd been to Canada a bunch, but I'd always been to Ontario, which is just,
Kind of American in a way.
exactly, like it's a little bit nicer, but it's almost the same.
Yeah.
Whereas Montreal was so different, so exciting, and just, it really blew my mind. There were pretty girls everywhere. The skateboarding was awesome. And the nice thing about Canadian cities, you're never afraid, right? You just
Yeah.
explore everywhere, check everything out. It's not like Lima or Pittsburgh. Or,
Yeah, it's safe
places.
and chill and nice and
which gives you
artsy.
the freedom to explore more.
I still think
So-
it's fairly cheap, even though it's getting more expensive. It's still affordable for us creative people.
It depends. For you, you're super successful, so.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's all about the neighborhood you choose to live. Like you're up here a little bit more north, but it's still like chill. You're by the market and you enjoy. And so tell me a little bit of like, do you remember how we met?
Yes, I do. I remember exactly how we met. So at the time, Montreal didn't have any good skate parks when I first moved here. And we had amazing street skating, like the Olympic Park, downtown, Copenhagen. Fantastic street spots all over the place. But
we didn't have parks
we have
because
6 months of winter, right?
Right.
So.
And we didn't have good parks because the Italian mafia, whenever there was a contract for skate parks in Montreal, they would give it to the Italian mafia construction people who knew nothing about skateboarding, and they would just put like kind of like skate obstacles in random positions, and the skaters would get there being like, this shit's got no flow, I can't skate this. And the skaters would go to the skate park to throw tomatoes on Go Skateboard Day. It was a disaster.
Yeah, they were terrible. So we're blessed with these great street spots. But then we have 6 months of winter, and you know, so we'd skate in metro stations in the underground city. Those would become our street spots. But then also every Wednesday night, Les Foufounes Électriques, a really cool bar downtown, would have a half pipe upstairs. And it wasn't like a great pipe. It was just like a mini ramp with like an extension. But
I love that ramp.
Exactly, it was the only thing.
It was a perfect mini ramp because that extension allowed you to catch more speed to then blast off, and it was wood. I can't believe they built it once a week for just that one day.
Yeah, and then they tear it down every week.
Right, but it was special because like on Wednesdays you can skate. The rest of the week you can't. So all the skaters would go there.
And we went hardcore. I mean, there was so much blood spilled there. People would be drinking and get messy, and I just would be super into it, and I guess you noticed me, you struck up a conversation.
Well, you're very friendly. You seem to have no inhibitions, no nervousness. I was very intimidated. I was like, everybody's ripping, and I'm kind of goofy with my skating, and I was just trying to get my tricks, and sometimes the board would fly into a table and knock somebody's picture off, and they get mad at me and be like, yo, dude, like, you sat on that table right next to a skateboard ramp. What do you expect?
There's a whole downstairs that's safe. It's like, you know.
But you were always very friendly, and I guess we got along.
Well, you were super nice because I'd be breaking stuff all the time, and you started hooking me up with your old boards that like weren't quite broken yet, or shoes. I'm gonna have to put in a B-roll shot of my shoes today because like they're dead.
Well, are we the same size with shoes?
We are.
Yeah. Well, I got shoes. Hit me up. I'll hook you up with some bands.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, we started following me on that, and then I checked out your art. That was awesome. You showed me the boards you were designing for Creation Skateboards, and your paintings, and the Positive Portal not too far from here on Saint Denis. That was so cool. You had a huge mural in your backyard, and then just art everywhere. And that was so inspiring to me because, especially coming from Iowa, I'd never really seen somebody make it as an artist, you know. Iowa, most people are farmers. The city I was in, most people work in the university. So it's government jobs, you know, it's my dad does. It takes care of you, you're all right, and, you know, it's contributing to education, but it's not exciting, it's not something that ever really appealed to me. And then I saw you paying for your whole life, paying this cool apartment, doing what you want to do, making the paintings you want to do, and selling them. And they weren't even selling for that much at the time. It seemed like a lot to me.
I was just starting up there. I was maybe like mid-career. Well, I still feel I'm mid-career, but there I was still...
But you weren't doing any other job.
Yeah, it was like...
I was in university, and that was your job, was painting. That was really inspiring to me.
As soon as I got out of school, it was like 100%, even if I was broke. But actually, I was on welfare for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the tail end of my welfare days. But yeah, 100% art. There's no going back.
So I never really seen that before, so that was super inspiring. And we did a couple of projects together. One was my idea called Northern Waves, which was just you were painting the big O with...
Akira.
Yeah, with Akira.
Rest in peace, Akira.
And we cut that up with some surfing, some skating. And
was that our first project together?
That was the first one. And then you had this idea of telling your tale visually. So I cut together a really short but super arty video
for Creation Skateboards
of the Positive Creations Odyssey, where we did like a skate odyssey across town and mixed in all your art.
Right, but that was for Creation Skateboards, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
whatever it was back then.
I was trying to
just tell
like
your
get
art.
in more with creation, but I don't have the skate skills to put a skate part. But if I tell like a artsy, like, hey, I'm an artist,
Yeah.
and like,
So I worked in all these animations out of your art. It was really cool. That was a
yeah,
lot of
no,
fun.
you did a great job, and I think it did well on YouTube. So let's backtrack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? What's your creative?
I make movies and I love working in video. I also like doing photography, but I've done that as an amateur because I like just doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. So
you're a filmer and an
yeah,
editor,
yeah.
right?
So, yeah, I'm a filmer, editor.
What kind of jobs do you do, or what kind of projects do you do in general? What's the ones that you enjoy at least?
I have a lot of fun with the weddings. I didn't think that I would. I was kind of dreading it when I started into it, editing wedding videos. But then once I started shooting them, they're so much fun. People are happy.
It's like
They
the
book
funnest
you
day
in
for some
advance.
people,
It
right?
pays pretty well. They feed you. There's a couple drinks. Yeah, it's a
Too
great
bad you're
day.
not single, because that's like a
know.
good place to pick up.
You have no idea. But but yeah, those were wonderful. And that was really what changed my life, because first I was a student for a long time, and I worked a couple of restaurant jobs, but never that seriously. And then Sarah got pregnant and we got married, and then suddenly I had to make money all the time. So I did more restaurants. I also worked at a shop for a while. Wasn't that great. Once I started doing wedding videos, they paid enough and they were frequent enough and booked enough that I started just filming and editing. Mm-hmm. And so that was maybe 5-6 years ago that I stopped doing restaurant jobs and just doing that. So that really changed things. So I love the weddings. I also do a lot of advertisements, which I don't like as much.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that on this because people are going to see this like, oh, I don't want to hire him. He's going to enjoy it. Look, I'm going to do a great job, but
Whatever.
it's advertising.
It is what
it's
it
not
is.
as much fun. I've gotten to work in a couple movies. They never pay very much. So
Music videos too, right?
music videos I love. I just finished this great one. Hopefully it's out when this is out, called Happy For You by Tyrell. Mm-hmm. I did that with Guillaume Parisien, who you know.
Right.
And it's really good. We shot that one like a short film. So it was like making a movie. And he just cut it up like a music video.
So it's creative
And
and fun.
It's really creative, really fun. Had a ton of friends help out on that one. We did really complex shots with lots of moving pieces, colored lights everywhere. That one was such a pleasure to do. The advertisements can be very soul draining, so it's nice to do something good.
I love the medium of the video, and that's why I always got a video project happening, like in this case, this podcast interview show. Even though it's like not, there's not much artistry to making a podcast. It's just a conversation with some B-roll thrown on it. But it's still nice to have like sounds and moving pictures to like tell a story or, express yourself. You actually made my wedding video. Which
No, Guillaume did.
Guillaume did. Okay,
I was
so
a
I'm
guest.
not,
It would have been good if I'd done.
I'm not gonna blame you for it then.
You said you didn't want me to. You wanted me to be a guest, enjoy myself.
Right.
And I did.
It was your birthday.
Yeah, that's
it was
right.
your birthday. I wasn't gonna put you to work on my wedding day and on your birthday. You might have shot a couple things, but instead you got your partner Guillaume to do it.
I think that was his first. What was your first wedding too? We'll do better on the next one.
Yeah, it was my first wedding. Let's see if I got another one. But the thing was that the video was very fun and the editing's very trippy. The problem was Guillaume just kept on getting stoned at the wedding. Like my wedding was very chill. People were doing whatever they want to do. It was very free, very artistic. But he only brought one battery. So in the middle of the ceremony, he runs out of battery and he didn't have a replacement. So he had to go unplug it. Meanwhile, he missed the final kiss and the vows and a bunch of the rain. He missed like a lot of crucial things. And I'm like, dude, man, it's not like I'm going to marry like 3 more times for you to get it right. But anyways, it's still fun. It's still good memories. The wedding didn't even last forever. So it's just,
Next
moving.
wedding,
Next wedding, I'll do a super pro.
Yeah. Yeah, what else? I did a documentary last, because I do like to do my own projects, but, in university and shortly thereafter, I did a couple short films. Just realized it is really something where you need to collaborate with people. You need a lot of money to pull them off. So the last documentary was for it because it was a documentary. It was just me working. I did hire some people to help out with the
What was it
music.
about?
It was about the St. Lawrence River. It's called River's End.
Cool.
I'll throw a link in the description. People can check it out. And it was beautiful to make. I got some money from Quebec to help make it, so
Nice.
that was nice too.
Cool.
You know, not having to worry about the financial side. Moving forward, I do have some very ambitious projects, but 2020. Basically, this year wrecked everything. Absolutely everything. It almost felt like, obviously, I'm in perfect health. I should be happy about that. Nobody I'm too close to under the age of 95 died. So I'm happy about that. But as far as career goes, it was almost like a straight shot. I was doing all these ads in the US, especially for medical facilities and nursing homes, tons of weddings, some other event videos, and then suddenly all of that was illegal. And before that,
Oh, yeah. Weddings are legal.
well, I can't cross the border. I can't go to nursing homes. I can't go to medical facilities. Weddings are illegal. It was like everything I did became illegal overnight.
Fun is canceled.
And what did I do before that? I worked in restaurants. So even the
You're in
not
restaurants.
as fun jobs that I knew I could still do, those are illegal too. So it was just,
so,
it was very frustrating.
So how you being able to go by with a family
Well,
too?
thankfully we're in Canada. And, you know, I was really against the lockdown.
Yeah.
But then once the government said, look, we'll pay you not to work. I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll shut up.
So that they started giving every like $2,000 very
month,
easily
yeah.
a month. Why do you think that is? Like it like that's very kind of Canada to be like $2,000 for everybody every month for like a long time. It's still
Yeah.
going. What's it called again? The CERB, right?
It was called CERB. Now it's called CERB minus the Canada Recovery Benefit. Actually, I managed to shift around things along with the people who hire me. We shifted around enough to get it through the laws. It took like 6 months, but we figured it out. So I'm slammed with work now. This podcast, another great podcast called Rep Matters. I'll throw the link in the description. And then tons of ads for schools. I've been going.
You lost
doing
the
lots of ads.
Artventures job because
Yeah, the Artventures guy came. That was the other job. I had this awesome regular show called The Artventures, starring Dyer. We did, what did we do, 35 episodes?
38.
38 episodes of
Yeah.
this show. And these are long episodes. These are like half an hour, 40
I had just
minutes.
also like raised your pay.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm happy that the show crashed because it was costing me a lot of money. But
Got to shoot 2 of those. That was great.
yeah,
We'll talk about Cuba a little bit later. But
No,
the Montreal and Cuba episodes, those were great. Anyway, that was illegal because you couldn't travel. You couldn't do your show.
yeah.
So
So
it did come around. I'm working a lot now, but
Yeah.
it was hard. So this year, it was just adapting. And not only did everything I do for work become illegal, but also my last landlady decided to evict us.
Oh,
So we were shopping for a house in a city that was suddenly super expensive during a pandemic.
Oh,
So I'm very happy that our friends Christina and Nas decided to move out of this place, and they talked to us first, and I was like, yes, we'll take 100%.
nice, man. Yeah,
we got the notice of eviction in December, and there weren't really any good options. They asked us in May about this place. So, and like legally in July, it would have had to be out.
Right. Damn.
So-
That's tough, man. But I'm happy you find your solutions and you're working with the space, even though you guys are 4.
Yeah.
And I hope that things keep on building up. And well, we got a new show happening. So,
Yeah, we have a new show. It's fantastic.
yeah.
And we have so many episodes. I'm number 10?
You're number 10, yeah.
I'm number 10. There's already 10 episodes of the show. That's
Yeah.
mind-blowing. We
yeah,
just started.
You're getting paid for each one.
And you're going to Peru?
Yeah, I'll get a few more
a few
there.
more in
I might
Peru,
do one in
hopefully US.
Miami. Because I'm stopping there for 10 hours on my layover. I might try to squeeze one there. We'll see. So before we get into this project, tell me a little bit about the Artventures you did with me. You know,
Oh, sure.
I don't know if people even know about my Artventures show, so maybe you can tell them a little bit about it.
People watch the Artventures. They're on YouTube. We're going to throw a link in right now. It was this great show where Chris was already this traveling artist. People would bring you out to different places to paint murals, teach workshops, speak at festivals, all sorts of different stuff. And while you're there, you would discover the country, visit the people, check out beautiful natural areas. And you just started filming everything you were doing. And not only that, you'd take your little camera, that one right there.
Yeah.
You'd hand it to whoever's nearby. Valerie was around for a long time, that helped. Then Ariane helped with that, or just whoever was around. They get shots of you doing things. And
Yeah. Sometimes it was
you
sketchy.
just show up with tons and tons of footage, and I'd throw together an episode for each one. I
Yeah.
convinced you to do one episode here in Montreal because this is such an exciting and artistic city. So we did a great episode here in Montreal. We worked a bunch of our friends into it, including Audie and Barry, who are, I think they're also guests on this
I'm
show.
doing Barry on Tuesday if he doesn't flake on me.
Yeah, so two of the people that are going to be on this show were in the Artventures too in the Montreal episode. Then a few years later, because we were doing the Artventures for years and years.
Since the year 2012.
Yeah, exactly.
And it ended, I guess, like last year. The last episode was Jordan.
Yeah, so we did 7 years of the Artventures.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you gave me a call, asked if I wanted to go to Cuba with you. I was like, well, I gotta make some arrangements because I'm a dad. I gotta figure this out. But also, yes, of course, yes.
Okay, it was the only time I could afford to get you there to film it because all my other trips are so far away or I'm so like, busy. But at that point I was like, I was single at the time. They had paid for me 100%. I was like, well, I'll pay whatever the flight cost to Cuba, which is not too much for Canadians because Americans are not allowed to go to Cuba. So Canadian can get there really cheaply. And we had a great week there.
Yeah,
and,
it was really awesome. We were mostly there
because it also involved skateboarding.
Yeah, exactly. You were there to paint a skate park and assist in its opening, and the guy that paid for you to come, Michael Ian Cohen, he was amazing. I ended up filming some stuff for him too for his documentary Humanity Stoked.
Yeah, which
That's
should
so
be
cool.
out this year on Netflix. I can't wait to be on a Netflix documentary
know.
with like fucking Tony Hawk and all these skate and art legends. I hope I do good. I'm so nervous.
But at the same time, Cuba, it was cool and it was just fantastic. It was January, so it was wonderful being someplace tropical in January.
Right.
But at the same time, everybody's starving and kind of pissed off at the government. We had 2 taxi drivers get robbed by the police while we were just sitting awkwardly.
Right.
But it was still cool. It was safe. I skated all over that city.
Yeah, everyone was friendly, and I enjoyed the food even though it was simple beans and rice mode. People are just kind of warm and happy that you're there and contributing to their economy. I never really felt in danger or threatened.
No, I mean, Michael and I got robbed, but not stuck up. Just people
Yeah,
stole my
no,
skateboard, they stole his money.
They jank your skateboard.
And he tried to pay for a taxi cab for us right after they'd stolen $300 from his bag.
He's a very kind person. Oh my God.
Although he did play a bit of a trick on us.
What?
Well, people don't know this because they only see what we put in edit. But for most of that week, we did 5 days in Havana, then we went out to Vinales.
Yeah.
While we were in Havana, we were staying together in this little tourist house in one small room with one small bed. And you and I just slept together like this, back to back.
Oh, that's the trick he pulled. He put us on the same bed. Yeah, it was very romantic. It was a
So we did
dream
that
come
for
true.
5 nights because, whatever. We're in Cuba, we'll make the most of it. We were so
It's all
busy, we had
good.
so much to do that we only slept a little bit.
It's all
And
good.
then we went to Vinales, we got to enjoy, getting out of Havana, seeing the nature, it was gorgeous.
I remember being so stuck, being all hey, we each got our own bed.
Yeah, and we come back to Havana just for a few hours before we go to the airport. And same tourist house, but Michael's not there anymore. And Chuck Treese from McRad, who was there to play at the skate park opening, he wasn't there either.
Yeah.
And we checked out their rooms. And both of these single dudes had rooms with
With
2
double
beds.
beds? Ah,
And they knew
bastard.
that the whole time that you and I were sleeping in the same little bed.
Oh, these
And
rascals.
they each had extra beds.
They
but
wanted us
whatever.
to hook up, I think.
Yeah,
But then Sarah would kill me.
exactly.
Your wife. I wouldn't want that. And I don't want you to take you to Cuba and come back and it's Sarah, I cheated with Chris Dyer. I'm sorry.
So yeah, we slept together 5 nights. Completely unnecessary.
It's all
But we
right.
got through it. We had a great time.
Whatever. We're confident in our masculinity.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. So that was the Artventures. I'm happy you enjoyed it. It's too bad it didn't continue simply because I don't travel anymore. It ended on a good note on the wedding proposal in Jordan.
Yeah, where do we go from that?
Yeah, no, it sounds like Chris Dyer lived happily ever after, which
Exactly.
he didn't.
No, but there's a whole nother show about that.
The wedding never really even happened. It was 2020. We got separated by the borders between Peru and Florida, and then Florida and Canada, and then my relationship with Ariane just kind of like didn't pan out, unfortunately.
It's
But
a hard year for relationships.
it was terrible. But I think a lot of people this year have gone through relationship hardships. May it be because of a separation or because they were together for too long.
Yeah.
Which I think
exactly.
most people are going through that. Like being like yesterday, I was seeing a skater friend that I bumped into the street, and he's like, "Dude, if they lock us this winter again, I'm gonna like kill my girlfriend. I just can't stand this. It's too much."
Yeah, exactly. People need other things to do. You can't just put everybody in prison over this.
Yeah, especially in Canadian winter. That's rough. You know, like as an artist, I'm in Canadian indoors winter all day, but I'm grounded in my practice. Other people just, I don't know, just smoke weed or I don't know what they do. So, since when did you start skateboarding?
I've been skateboarding since I was 11, so it's 22 years of my life. I remember my friend Andy, who lived a few blocks over, he got a skateboard. He started doing it, looked cool.
What year was that?
That year, 1998.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
1998 is when I started skating again. Like I never really stopped, but like 80s skating and 90s skating was like different kinds. And when I started skating in that 97, 98, you had to go straight. There was no more ramps. Like there was no more skate parks then. So
Yeah, I started out just street too because I lived in a small city in Iowa that at the time didn't have a skate park. Thankfully, by the time I was in high school, it did have a really good skate park. But growing up before then, it was just skating around Ames, doing ollies over train tracks. Thankfully, there was a university in town, so that had a lot of cool spots with ledges and stairs. I was very flat, so not really any hills. So that was something new I learned in Montreal, was how to carve hills. And my mother was very patient, very nice. There was, in West Des Moines, about an hour drive, there was one little half pipe, like the one at Foufounes. And she'd drive me there every now and then, just so I could go back and forth and figure it out a bit.
Nice. What do you like about skateboarding? Why you still do it today?
Yeah, I know, right? I still do it. Is that crazy?
Yeah, I know.
We're still skating.
I'm still skating in my
The
40s.
stuff at the B-roll we shot today. And yeah, I love skateboarding because it's always a challenge. You're never satisfied with it. And
But it's
something you
surprising
can do by yourself. It's a way of exploring your environment, your urban environment. It really makes you look at cities different ways. You look at how can I play with that? How can I put this together with these wheels? How can I make something happen here? And so
It stimulates the
it.
creative mind of like, how can I turn this boring concrete landscape into something I can play, you know? Like, how can I play with this?
Exactly, yeah. And it's skateboarding is infinite. There's never, even Tony Hawk's, he's still learning. You know, as amazing as he is, he's still learning. I see his new videos up all the time. He's still coming up with new tricks, still relearning other stuff, still discovering new environments. So myself, obviously, I'm not Tony Hawk, but anytime I get a trick, it's like, okay, cool. I feel good about myself for 5 seconds. Now let's do something else.
Right.
So
you go for it, man. I can't believe you got that handrail today. I've never gotten a handrail like that. I guess maybe it's not my trick, but yeah, you always just fucking throw down and.
I'm not as crazy as I was when you met me. At Foufounes, man, I would like have ripped up arms every night from sliding down that thing, and it wasn't even a gnarly ramp. I just go really hard.
Well, in your 20s you can bounce so
Exactly.
much easier. 30s is already like a little more challenging. 40s it gets tougher. LeBron is almost hitting 50. Then
Yeah.
he was.
And we're doing
going-
doubles today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't learn the.
We didn't get it.
You get the.
I will cheat in editing, and it'll look like we did.
Okay,
But
true.
we never landed at the same time in sequence, but almost.
But both of you
There
got
was
your
one
tricks.
time where he got it a sketchy landing, and then I got it perfectly. So
Right.
we might use that.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that. And you also surf, right?
Yeah,
You're
surfing.
in Canada. The surfing is not a Canadian thing. So how do you,
Surfing is a Canadian thing. Canada has the most coastline of any country on earth. And that's before you add in the Great Lakes, which are basically inland oceans. So people
Okay.
don't know about it, but yes. And
Does
that's before
Canada
you add in the river.
Does Canada have good waves in the ocean though?
Yes, Nova Scotia, they're absolutely beautiful, slow waves.
Okay.
So, I mean, they get huge, but it's kind of like Santa Cruz in California has a big, slow wave where it just keeps building, which gives you the time to paddle and get onto it
Right.
and get up and get into it.
Uh-huh.
Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia, exact same feeling.
Okay. Just
not
colder.
quite as yeah, it's cold.
That's
as
why
hell.
it's
but
not-
California's cold as hell too.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of Canada in Tofino, that's a famous spot I've never been to. Hopefully I get to go there soon. For me, where I learned to surf was here in Montreal, downtown, on the St. Lawrence River. We have standing waves because of the rapids. And they're actually the rapids that are the reason there's a city here. The French were exploring by boat.
Okay.
And Jacques Cartier literally could not pass these rapids. And this giant river, the rapids were so big and strong, he's like, all right, screw it, I'm going home. And then Samuel de Champlain came back. He's like, well, we can't pass this, put a city. They put a city here.
Okay.
And that's why Montreal is here. It's because of these rapids. Basically, as the water rushes over these rocks, it starts to bounce off itself and just bubble up to the point where huge waves come as the water folds over itself.
So it's a wave that doesn't move.
The wave is constantly transforming, but it's always in the same geographic spot.
So you could be on that wave forever because it never stops breaking.
My longest ride is probably about an hour.
An hour on a wave?
But usually I'll keep it under a minute or two because like with skateboarding, I'm always trying to push it, trying to carve up. I've been learning ollies and airs and grabs.
You don't want to hog it.
Well, yeah, there's the lineup, but it's also just I want to push myself. If I'm doing an hour, I'm just standing there.
Yeah.
When I'm carving and cutting and hopping, I'm
you'll
going to make a
fall.
mistake and I'll fall.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool, but that's fun.
Yeah.
I've never done it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. St. Lawrence looks dirty to me.
You know, another thing with that is it's because of you that I'm surfing well.
Oh, great.
Because what happened was my friend
I'm
Joey,
responsible for all your blessings.
a lot of it, thank you.
Sick.
So I started surfing, I started boogie boarding with my friend Joey who had a boogie board, and we'd share it with no wetsuit. We'd just take turns jumping on the boogie board with flippers and paddling out, catching the wave, and it felt amazing because when you're in it, it's really big and it's incredibly strong. It just throws you forward and you can learn to carve around. So we started boogie boarding, and occasionally we'd rent surfboards. And then we bought surfboards from this guy, Corin Addison, who had a company, Imagine Surfboards. He's the first person to surf here in Montreal.
Okay.
And Joey and I, feeling ambitious and talking to Corin, who's, pro level, we bought his best boards, which are these 6'2" Imagine Surfboards, thruster fin setups. And they're like needles. They're like skateboards. They're just, when you learn how to ride them, they're incredibly fast and have expert control. Until then, they're needles and you go straight through. So it took me forever to learn how to ride it. I moved to LA for a little bit.
They're just
And
too...
they're a bit too small for the ocean.
Right.
Until I went up to Santa Cruz with the giant waves. But in LA, it was really hard. I moved back here again after LA. And then you hooked me up with a much larger surfboard, which turned out to be a 1988 Jeff McCoy. It's a 6'10" single fin.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a mini longboard. Like it's
Right.
not the length of a longboard, but it's really thick. And I put in this huge fin from Mac on it, like a 16-inch fin. And with that, it would catch everything and would hold it nice and stably. So.
In Peru, we call them camotes.
Camotes.
Like it's a kind of potato. It's like the potato board. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna start surfing, you gotta start with a camote.
Exactly.
You gotta start with a big potato that's kind of like a boat that's sturdy, and you can stand on it till you get used to the whole motion of standing on a board. And then later on, your boards can get thinner, so you can start doing all like
Exactly, yeah.
carving tricks.
So I learned how on the board you gave me, and now I can ride the other one from Corin. So
Great.
super happy about that.
Well, no problem. Somebody gave it to me. I was like, well, Ben surfs. I don't surf. Here's a board.
Yeah, muchas gracias. Amigo.
Yeah, then, boom. So, Ben, are you black, man?
Yeah, I'm black,
Yeah?
but I'm a lot of other things too.
What does that mean?
Well, part of it is that I'm from the USA, because you're right, it means a lot of different things. I'm actually working on a podcast, I guess directing a podcast right now, exploring this topic. It's called Rep Matters. It's a creation of Philippe Gagnon-Joseph, who was just going around to different black Canadian business leaders, investors, engineers, people who are, leaders in the Canadian tech environment, and asking that very question.
Okay. Like
Are
what-
you black? How are you black? What does it mean to you? How has this affected
Yeah.
your life? So I've been exploring that a lot with Phil and with all the guests on that show.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit different for me coming from the American side,
Yeah.
because I'm multiracial. My father's African American, descendant of slaves from Africa. My mother is an Ashkenazi Jew of Polish and Ukrainian origin.
So you're also Jewish.
But also on my father's side, it's not just African slaves. There's some rape by slave owners. There's some white on that side too. There's also some mixing from the Mohawk and Cherokee tribes.
Oh, cool.
So a little bit of the Native American too. So there's all these things mixed together. But the reason why black comes out most visibly is, well, I mean, there's the hair. The skin tone this time of year is not that dark.
Yeah.
But in the US, the law was 1 drop. If you had 1 drop of African blood, you were considered black in the US. And you had no rights.
It's like you're tainted or something.
Yeah, that was the rule in the US.
Oh, it's like the water got dirty or something like that.
And I was born way after the civil rights movement. I mean, my father was involved in some of that when he was in university. But it's still very much the mentality of the US. I think Peru's probably better at treating people the same. Canada's definitely better. In the US, it's very divided. You're this or you're that. So multiracial people, you get really pushed to one side or the other.
Peru's got racism too, but that's like a big discussion because the main bloodline of Peru is Andean. So it's more like a brown Latino or what's called Cholo kind of race. But then you got the Spanish influence, and then you got the mestizos, which are half-half, and then you got the whites. Like I look white, but I'm Peruvian because there's just been so much white influence in my bloodline. But I don't feel white. Anyways, let's not get about me.
Yeah, but back to me, it's like you said, you're this, but you're treated as that.
Yeah.
So because of the rape of the slaves back in the day, there's more white in me than anything else. Part of that is also that Jews are considered white now.
Like you got green eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It's beautiful.
you go back to when my mother was young, Jews were not considered white. They were definitely considered their own race and hated.
So you're 2 minorities in one. How do you feel? Do you feel the whole world hates you, or you don't give a fuck, or you think
You
it's
know
a
what was
joke?
really cool? 4 years ago, just on a whim, we went to Puerto Rico for a family vacation.
Yeah.
Puerto Ricans looked like me.
Okay.
I've never fit in anywhere before. Puerto Rico was like, I blend in.
Yeah.
It was like if you're a beautiful blonde woman and you take a trip to Norway and suddenly you're just
not weird
ordinary. That I had never felt that before. I loved Puerto Rico.
Do you feel like weird in Canada? Like,
Yeah,
is
I
it,
do. I
is
feel
it
weird everywhere, Chris. I've
Really?
always felt. I did not fit in Iowa at all. I was always.
But it's better
an
in Canada than
outsider.
in the United States, or
It's
is it?
way better in Canada, but also in Montreal. Montreal is a big city. It's an extremely diverse city.
Like nobody's gonna look at you being like, "Oh, a black." Like, does
Yeah.
that happen? Like, does
In
any
Montreal, no. In Quebec City, yes.
Okay.
But in Montreal, everybody's weird here. So-
Yeah, right. It's just different, and we accept each other.
And I also wasn't interested in the same things other people were, so I probably could have worked harder to blend in Iowa, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to
Be you.
figure out my own stuff.
Yeah. That sucks how like LA just treats each other better or worse depending on the way they look, huh? It shouldn't be that way. But we're so conditioned, you know, like even, you know, it's just how we've been brought up. But hopefully these things can change. Now, this year, 2020, has been a year of where the topic of racism, especially for the black community, has come up strongly after the George Floyd murder that touched us all. And we all were aware of it, and we were all kind of like not agreeing with it, but it was almost like, okay, we really gotta do something to change the situation. And then the Black Lives Matter movement started, but then a lot of people are saying that was just like a tactic for the government to divide people and create some kind of racial war and more divide into the people. So what's your
I
opinion?
see it the exact opposite of that, Chris.
Okay,
what
so
was
what's
really
your opinion?
wonderful about Black Lives Matter is we had all these white people with it. And there were some white people back in the day. I mean, Bernie Sanders marched with MLK, but let's be honest, it was mostly black people standing up saying, stop shooting us, stop putting us down, stop segregating us. When George Floyd was murdered, suddenly we saw white allies stepping up and marching with us. And we had never seen that before.
Yeah.
Not in those numbers. I mean, it's the biggest protest movement in U.S. history.
Right. It
And
kind of
it's
kicked
not
us in
just
the ass
black
to kind of
people.
like show like, hey, no, we do actually care. We were busy with our own
And
stuff.
police
but-
brutality, it's been a huge problem forever.
Right.
It's always been an issue. I remember I was 16, I had a gun pointed at my head for skateboarding. And I was with a bunch of white friends, and the cop completely ignored all of them.
Right.
And that was for skateboarding, and he had the gun out.
Right. There's that video of that skater who gets beat to the ground by these cops, and the other skaters are like, "Why are you beating him up and not us?" And the other two were white, I think.
Yep.
It's like, whoa, like they
So
basically.
it's been an issue for a long time.
That brought up a lot of
here
videos.
in Montreal. There's definitely issues of racism too. I don't
Right.
think it's as bad, but I remember one time leaving Foufounes one time. This was a long time ago with Yannick. Suddenly, a cop just grabbed me as I was heading into the metro station. Just grabbed me from behind, twisted my arm back, and my roommate just started freaking out, like, "What the hell?" And the cop said, "C'est un nègre, il doit avoir fait quelque chose," which translates to, "This is a nigger, he did something."
Oh.
And then they started asking me and him all these questions. Apparently, they'd had a rush of people stealing cars. I'm like, I was on my way into the metro. Car thieves have cars to drive.
Right.
So after a while, like, they let us go, but still, you know, there's definitely issues.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Yeah.
So yeah, but Black Lives Matter. We had a really cool thing that happened this summer. The organizers of Go Skate Day, Annie Guglia
Yeah.
and Frédéric Louillet,
Yeah.
they had the idea of merging Go Skateboarding Day and Black Lives Matter. So we did a joint event with Phil Beauséjour. And,
This year, right?
Yeah, this year. It
I was
wonderful.
here, but I had just arrived from Peru and I was on quarantine and I was like, oh my god, I really want to go to protest and to go skateboarding, and it was Father's Day and it was
Yeah.
something else and it was the most beautiful sunny day. And
It
I
was
like,
not. It was sweltering. It was like 40 degrees.
too hot.
The only thing that I'll fault the leaders for is they had it at 1 p.m. We were dying of heat, but we had to represent. So I was
Right.
skating super hard. We had a great shred
I think you guys
across
passed by my
downtown.
apartment. They said like, "Hi, Chris," and I would say hi from my window as a little prisoner of.
No, we didn't go that far north. There was this very squared Peace Park. Then we had like an event at Peace
You
Park.
didn't go past my. You were going to, no?
Yeah, I thought it'd be a bigger circuit, but
Okay.
Anyway.
I think you texted me. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna see you. It's too hot or something like
Yeah.
that. Okay, I remember.
it was so hot. But it was awesome. It was a great day. So that was really cool. We had the skateboarding community coming out for Black Lives Matter too.
Nice. Do you think it did anything? All
Yeah,
these
it did.
protests?
It did.
Okay.
Police are getting in trouble now.
Okay.
For the
cool.
first time in American history, police are getting in trouble. The guy who killed George Floyd, Derek Chauvin, he's charged with murder.
Okay.
And the thing is, police officers never got in trouble before for anything.
Right.
Now it still takes, you need to film it, you need to have all this evidence. But still,
Yeah.
they used to never get in trouble.
They're
so
accountable.
They're accountable.
They didn't
if they
live-
want to keep their jobs, if they want to stay out of jail, they're going to have to treat people better.
So they didn't liberate them? I kind of heard or saw something that.
Well, they're
like-
on bail. They're not in jail, but they have charges pending. They're fired from the police force, and hopefully the jury will convict them.
Okay. So they might still get punished.
Yeah, they might still get punished. I hope they will. I mean, there's no...
It's undeniable.
It's undeniable. There's a video of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, they got the pressure of the whole society.
Yep. So...
Well, so you
Hopefully
don't
it changes
think
something.
you don't think the Black Lives Matters movement has been coerced or used for some kind of racial split or fight? You actually
I think it's the exact opposite.
it's united us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel the sentiment.
There
like,
were splits before, and there were never this number of white allies before. So
Right.
it's definitely brought more people together as opposed to bringing people apart.
Totally. And the sentiment of a lot of people confuse what Black Lives Matters means. They feel like Black Lives Matters means like all other races don't matter. But it's not like that. It's like, hey, we also matter. All of you guys matter too, but we also matter, right?
Exactly, because the police used to just shoot people.
Which is
Black people.
It's so stupid that
And
we
they
even have
never
to
get in
say
trouble.
it.
Exactly, and it's not even something you should have to say, but we're saying it, and hopefully there will be changes.
Yeah.
And hopefully we push forward, disarm the police. That would be wonderful. I mean, George Floyd was killed by strangulation, but still, I think we'd have less incidents if the police don't have guns, period.
Right. They know now that they could get into shit. Hopefully, do you think defunding the police is the solution?
Oh, it's a great solution. Police don't do anything. In very rare cases they do, but 90% of the time they're showing up after the fact, and they create more problems than they solve.
Do you feel they're bullies?
They're huge bullies. Obviously, bullies want to become police.
Yeah.
Like, it just appeals to a bully.
Yeah.
Here's a job where we give you a gun and you get to order people around and beat them up if they don't listen to you.
But there's good cops too, that with good intentions, that want to make the world a better place and protect us from the bad guys or the bad situations.
But they don't.
No?
Because it's not the police that are arresting these other cops.
Do you think we even need police?
That's why the other 3 police were charged with accessory to murder. It was Derek Chauvin who killed George Floyd, and others watched him do it for 9 minutes straight.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't stop. They stick up for each other. In
Right.
Buffalo, there was a Black Lives Matter protest, and the police attacked the protesters, and one of them grabbed this old man, threw him to the ground, and this guy's head hit the pavement. He started bleeding out of the back of his head. He's lying on the ground. The police just walked over him, ignored him.
Right, I saw that.
There was a video of it.
Yeah.
So the police officer who shoved him got suspended and charged with assault. 50 officers resigned from the Buffalo police in solidarity with the officer who pushed him. That is the exact opposite.
Oh.
The exact opposite of police getting the bad guy. That's saying, what? You want us to be responsible? No, we won't even want to do it anymore if we're going to be...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The world's upside down right
Yeah.
now. But we're starting to see it. We're starting to see the bullshit of the
Well,
world.
the cameras are everywhere. And we have 3 cameras in the room right now. That changes things. When you can prove things, it changes things.
Well, yeah. It's helping us in this situation where really we're becoming, or at least some people are becoming the victim. We can prove it. You know, other people don't like cameras everywhere because they feel like it's like a Big Brother 1984 situation where whatever we do is under camera and we can't make any mistake or we'll be canceled forever for that mistake.
Well, that's a whole nother political question, is cancel culture. But
Yeah. What do you think about that? Should somebody
I'm
be
a
canceled,
bit-
or should we just say like, hey man, don't be an asshole, don't make mistakes. We forgive you, you know. Don't continue doing these bad things. Learn your lesson, you know. But just canceling people and ruining their lives forever, is that the solution? Like,
definitely not. You should never cancel somebody secondhand. Like, if somebody's a jerk to you, you don't have to listen. You don't have to put up with that.
yeah.
But
Fuck
if somebody says that somebody else is a jerk, don't believe them. Because there's problems right now where people say this is a bad person, don't listen to what they say, cancel them, don't give them a platform. No, listen to what they say and decide for yourself. Or don't. But don't just take somebody else's word for it that people are bad, because hopefully they're not.
Do you have optimism for the world? Do you feel like
Yes, I
all
do.
this negativity that's coming up is going to help us heal?
I have huge optimism for the world. I'll tell you why.
All right.
Like I said, I was pretty upset when this situation started with the pandemic and, you know, my whole career being illegal, and I was already being evicted, but I thought, oh shit, we're going to be homeless. I'm going to have to, you know, rob people, because that's the backup. The backup is crime. Let's be honest about that.
You want to get into crime?
Well, if I have to survive, yes.
Just,
I don't want to. I
just
didn't need to.
Hit me up. I'll lend you money to you.
You were a kid. You weren't allowed to do anything either. So anyway, it looked bad. Being in Canada, we're okay because the government ponied up money from the future to pay for us now, and we figured things out. So we're making money again. So we're all right. We're getting by. But the silver lining of it is, you were talking about the St. Lawrence. You think of it as dirty, and a lot of people that have lived here for a long time or grew up here, they think of it that way. It is cleaner than it's been since the Industrial Revolution. It is so clean this year. We even had a whale in the river. And there's so many fish. The water is so clear. It's so nice. And that's just 1 year. Just a few months in, it made a huge difference having that much less human activity. My father's from Pittsburgh, which is used to be a huge industrial city. Tons of steel mills, tons of other factories. And then after the 60s, all those jobs started going to China, to Mexico, to India. So the factories closed. And the way Pittsburgh looks now, you go to these places where these factories, you can't even tell, because the forest is taking them over, and it's beautiful.
And that's because
nature
of COVID?
Well, no, that was just nature. But this year I've seen in Montreal that nature bounced back so quickly as soon as humans stopped actively hurting nature all the time that it makes me optimistic. But I don't think the planet's ruined. I think we can still fix it.
Right, we can regenerate quickly, but
And we can rebuild, hopefully, society to not do as many bad things that we
I
were
would
doing.
so love once we get out of this COVID episode, we can be like, hey, can we not destroy nature so much?
Yeah.
Like, we live in this planet, we love it. It's
Electric cars are obviously the future. They're so much better. They don't use gas. They're not the solution by itself. There's so many ways we can improve society and improve the planet.
Less people are eating meat.
Yeah.
That's huge too. I think that's bigger than the cars. Is like just less cows, less methane, less cutting of the rainforest to keep the cows, less cutting of the rainforest to grow soya beans to feed the cows. That's the biggest thing I think we can do to
I eat
reduce.
meat, but you're right. You're completely right.
Just
and I don't
cut
want the
beef.
people in the comments to say, he's not a vegetarian. I definitely eat meat.
No judgment,
and,
you know?
And there's different ways of growing meat. Because
Yeah.
I was born in Wyoming. There's huge ranches where cows live. You know, they're out in the plains and they graze for a while. Then they bring them in and kill them and eat them.
Right. It's all
But there's
relative.
also huge factories that create so much pollution with it.
Right. Don't buy
cows
Costco.
live-
Don't buy Costco
Yeah.
beef. you
Yeah,
know?
and they live their whole lives in these terrible pens. And
That's
it's
just
so much
cruel,
worse.
and that's just like bad.
It's cruel and
it's-
it's terrible for the environment.
It's bad karma also on humanity. If
Yeah.
humanity is so heartless that we treat other living creatures like they don't matter, then nature's like, oh, well, you don't matter neither, bitch.
Well-
Like, you know, what do you want?
It's hard this year. I mean, COVID's definitely, it's not that deadly. It kills, what, 0.5% of the people who test positive for it. But it is a natural death. I mean, it could be the planet just saying, you know, we've had enough of you. Time for you to move along.
Well, it's not gonna, like, COVID's not gonna kill humanity.
No, it's not. 0.5%, it does nothing. People reproduce faster than that.
Yeah, if anything, I think the regulations on COVID is killing more than COVID itself.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, but let's not get into that because
No, that's a huge discussion.
so many of my guests
And we'll get flagged
into
and
it.
banned.
No, it doesn't matter, and we shouldn't be censored for having an opinion.
Of
and,
course
and that's why I made this show, because I want people to talk freely about whatever opinions they have, and everybody will have different opinions, and you know, I'm just listening. You know, I'm listening and learning from each one of you guys. So, what's in your future, Ben? The winter's
My future?
coming.
I learned this year not to make plans.
Okay,
That's really the number one lesson from this year.
just flow
Things
with it
change.
now.
Right now, this year, I'm in a good place right now. I'm super busy. This is a good show. We got a lot of this coming up.
Nice.
God Rep Matters. That's another good show that I'm working on. I've been doing lots of ads. Hopefully more of those. And then hopefully in the spring, weddings again.
Okay.
And can reset. I've got this beautiful new apartment. Can rebuild here. So that's what I hope. I hope that 2021 is just making up for 2020. And it wasn't all bad for me. I had a fantastic summer. Because I did learn to accept that I was being paid not to work.
Yeah.
And that is a great thing that most people in the world did not get. Because outside of Canada, there aren't very many countries that did that. So I was surfing all the time and tons of expeditions to different nature parks with the kids.
Did you invest into your business?
I did, yeah. I bought a new camera. I bought new musical equipment for recording soundtracks for things and for teaching the kids music. So we really made the most of it.
Right.
But next year we have to get back, not to normal, but hopefully something better than what normal was before.
Right.
And then after that, yes, I want to make plans. But that is depending on the situation, ending, people getting over the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because whatever happens with the virus, if there's a vaccine, wonderful. If there's not a vaccine, get over it.
Yeah, you'd want to take the business.
Oh,
vaccine?
definitely, because
You're not nervous that like there's some kind of like dirty aspect of it, like something unhealthy, some kind of
if
like.
they rush it too much, there could be problems. But if it's tested, I'll probably be fine. If I get the virus, I'll probably be fine. So I'd rather take the dead virus than the live virus. So if I have to get it either way, I'm going with the dead virus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have some final words of wisdom to our millions and millions of viewers that hopefully will tune into this awesome show?
Well, one thing I've always respected about you, Chris, is that people bring you places to do your thing. And that's really where, like I said, I'm not making plans this year. But moving forward, that's what I want to do more. Because I've really specialized in helping people make their visions reality. This show being one of them. Other shows being their things, advertisements. I want to start getting the point where you're at, where people bring you in and they say, Chris Dyer, make me some art. And you make what you want to make.
Right.
And I love that they pay you to make what you want to make. And you make beautiful things. It's all great.
I worked hard at creating my
So I've
style.
really focused on helping people get, people hire me to make what they want to make. So I'm making their things the way they want for them.
But you can do it in
I
your
want
style.
to changing. Oh, I do it in my style. But I want to start evolving it to the point where, all right, I'm getting paid to do my art, my visions, my way.
What would be like the dream project, for example?
Oh, I've got a couple movies I've written that I want to raise, but those are $1 million things. I think the cheapest one I've got is web series. I still need maybe $150,000, $180,000. So I'll be hitting, writing grants and just trying to raise my profile up to the point where these things happen. But no plans this year.
Right. Just staying focused on the now, on the blessings that you have already, and letting that gratitude expand and keep on attracting more of those blessings and better ones in the future.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hope so.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, for doing this show with me. Thank you so much for producing it, for editing it, for helping me all these years with my video projects. I think you're a wonderful soul and a person. I really love how you're just very much you. You never seem to have fear. I always feel like, man, I wish I could just be like Ben, who's just very confident and just does his thing, and I love that about you, and I inspire from you to be a better person. So thank you so much for everything, brother.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Woo!
And
Yeah.
thanks to Eloise, who's been running the cameras on that. Usually my job. It's so nice that you're taking over and you're there for us. So thanks, Eloise.
She's been a great assistant. Thanks, Elo. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning this week to Chris Dyer's Creative Friends. Please make sure to subscribe if you like it. Maybe press the like button. Maybe share it. I don't know. Let's give some momentum to this project so more people can see all these wonderful souls that I'm trying to share with you. So I'll see you next week. Peace. Next week, my guest will be Kevin Ledoux.
But like when I'm doing things in my studio, it's way more about psychology, to be honest. It's more about perception, how the mind works, how we perceive things and how we perceive ourselves. And a lot of it is, I'm really interested in psychology. So I read about it, I listen to podcasts and interviews, and I find it eternally interesting to understand our own mind and our own perception and perhaps why we think things are the way they are, or why we think we are the way we think we are, or what humans need as essentials and how they compensate for that, and it ends up being part of their character. Like these types of things I'm like crazy interested in my studio work.
So make sure to subscribe, like, and everything else. Big thanks and see you next week. Peace.